Hi everyone, Kevin DeWalt, founder So Helpful. I'm joined today with Ramli John, who joins us from Toronto. Ramli is a lean startup coach. We originally met face to face at the Lean Startup Conference in San Francisco last year, and I've been really been happy to get to know him. Met up with him when we were in Toronto, and he's been one of the best writers that I found out there on Lean Startup, and someone who certainly influenced my thinking, and someone I turn to when I need advice. So Ramli, I think what we're going to talk today is like how being helpful is part of your strategy for growing your business. So before we kick into that, can you just kind of tell us a little bit about what it is, what you do, and how you got into it?
Sure. I started off. I've been working on a startup about a year ago. I was actually helping out moms create storybooks for them, and I quickly realized with my business partner that him and I were both not parents, and we didn't plan on being parents for a while. So that didn't work out, and through
So
that
you
whole
could really
process.
really empathize with the market, right? It's just you felt it. It's just really you, right?
Yeah, no, it was. We did a lot of customer development. We talked to a lot of moms, but there was just a point where we like you said, we couldn't really relate to that market, and through that whole process, that's how I got introduced and more practice about like the whole thing startup concepts and getting out of the building. And those buzzwords are great words, but when you start applying it, it becomes more alive. Then I started writing a blog during that whole process, and it got picked up by a few people. And one of the things that got picked up was by the Lean Startup Conference in San Francisco, and I got a chance to speak there, and that's where I met you. We were both mentors at the Lean Startup Machine in San Francisco. They also found me through my blog, and you introduced me through this whole So Helpful thing, and just started doing So Helpful since January, and it's been helping out quite a few entrepreneurs now since 5 months ago.
Excellent. So I guess how has like being helpful been a part of your business? Like how does it fit into your business and growing your business and your strategy? Can you just tell me a little sort of how it's worked for you, what's worked, what hasn't?
Sure, yeah. One of the things that there's a few ways that being so helpful has really been helpful to my business. One of them is like it's helped me figure out what entrepreneurs are facing. I know
Yeah.
when I was an entrepreneur, well, I still am, but when I was working on a startup, is that I had my own business problems and business issues and lean startup issues that I face, but other people didn't have the same issues. So hearing other people talk about it, it gives me some ideas to what to write about next for my blog. But secondly, I think second way that's being so helpful helps my business is that it's helped me really be in touch with my customers who are the startup founders it's really been helped me like try to evolve my thinking about lean startup, like what problems they face. I try, like, there are some concepts about lean startup that doesn't cover what they're facing, so it's evolved my thinking about the whole lean startup concept itself, but it's also given me a way to hear other people what they think about it.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? It's so different when when you read about this stuff, and
Yeah,
then somebody reads about it, they read about an idea, and everyone who writes, including me, we all package it up in a way that's really consumable. But you actually get out there and like trying to find the customers and get them to like trust you, give you feedback. That stuff's hard, right? It's like, and
yeah,
everybody
that's true.
feels like it's just them, like the rest of the world hasn't figured out. So that's definitely a lot of the value. So you mentioned like knowing what to write about. Can you tell just a little bit more about that? Like why can't you just write? Why can't you just write about ideas? Why is it important to hear other people's problems before you write something?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think the blog is one other way for me to help out other people. And if the what I'm writing about doesn't resonate with people, my blogs would have gotten picked up by different people. It wouldn't have been shared by other people. It's a way for me to almost validate the demand for a potential topic before. So I start hearing patterns from different entrepreneurs. Let's say about like, oh, is a landing page a minimum viable product? And I wrote a whole blog post about, like, sometimes it's not if you don't do it right.
Yeah.
And that's where, for me, it's a way to validate the demand for a blog post even before I write it.
So the questions you're getting from people actually inform what you're going to write. So
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
interesting. Yeah, that's I found the same thing too. It's and it's amazing how it's often simpler things than I would have realized. Instead of me trying to come up with some abstract thought, people often have really simple questions, and if you can deliver on that, then anyway. So obviously, I agree with the sentiment there. Well, great. So, any particularly valuable call you had with somebody, like anything that sticks out to you, call or a meeting or coffee, like some point where you helped somebody out, and it became like sort of there was a great value for both of you in the conversation.
Sure, about a few weeks ago, I was helping out somebody who was he was already coaching people on how to get jobs in product management,
Okay.
and he had an idea for an app, so he didn't know how to get started on building this. So I helped him out. Like, he was a great listener. He listened to me for 20 minutes. I asked him a lot of questions. He replied back. I suggested for a few ways that he can go. And then he turned it around and he asked me, "Hey, how can I help you?" And I realized that he was already doing coaching, business like career development coaching on his website. And he also wrote a book for that
Oh,
career coaching for product development. And I started asking him, it's like, how did you get started with this whole coaching? Because that's what I eventually want to get into. Is like, how can I help entrepreneurs online through coaching
yeah,
and make a little bit of money online too about it.
yeah.
And he told me how he started. He posted up a KGG Craigslist post to validate the demand for it, and he like suggested how I can write a copy for the ad. And it was just a memorable call because that was the first time where the caller, it's like, you helped me so much. How can I help you? It was like, where did this come from? So it was just a
Yeah.
great feeling that it's almost you scratch my back and I scratch your back.
That's
You know,
awesome, Ramley. Yeah, that's great. And where was this person from? Just out of curiosity.
the person was from Seattle,
Okay.
so it was halfway across North America.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't have met if it wasn't through so helpful.
Awesome. And so, if you had advice for somebody who's wanting to get started, like helping out others as a way to grow their business, regardless if they're trying to do it, on whether or not they're meeting coffee shops or they're doing it, face to face or Skype or Hangout like you're doing. Any advice for somebody just starting out? Like, if you want to start like being helpful to kind of grow your business, grow your reputation, especially somebody who like you've gone like you've been at the just starting phase really recently and have kind of built yourself up quickly. What advice do you have for somebody else who's where Ramley was 8 months ago?
Um, my advice would be to start writing a blog post. I think getting your story out there, and you might not be hearing what people are going through at that time, but write about the problems you're facing, because there's a big chance that if you're facing that problem, then other people are facing that problem. And just write about, try to be helpful even in the blog post. Like, tell them what you've tried, what hasn't worked, what has worked, and people would really be thankful, and they would actually share your posts and get to know you a little bit better through your blog posts.
Excellent.
Um, yeah, and then you can start building it up from there. And the other thing that I've started is, like, now I write a blog post, I actually do a call to action where, if you have more questions about this blog post, like, call me through So Helpful right now. I can help you directly out. And it's
Does
been
that does that work? Does that work well for you?
It has. Like, I think I'd say 60 to 70% of my calls have been through them finding out my blog, and then say, hey, you
Yeah.
wrote this blog post. I'd like you to help me out about my startup.
Yeah. It's almost like we have to use like our content to kind of lower the fear barrier from calling us,
Yeah.
and have people not so it's like that's almost the first step of building the trust. You just cold call somebody with an email who's never heard of you before, say, hey, come and talk to me for 30 minutes. They guess like, what the hell
That's
is this
true.
guy? Why is this guy emailing me? So, hey, Ralph, that's this is great. Thank you so much for your time. So, yeah, let me just see if I can get it correct, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. But the people any like early stage entrepreneur or maybe product manager in a company, somebody trying to build something new is facing market risk, wants to start test to validate their ideas. Are those the kind of people that you help out?
It is, yes. Product
Great,
managers, startup founders, entrepreneurs,
excellent.
entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneurs. All right, and I know ramleyjohn.com is your
Yep.
awesome blog, and they can schedule a call with you at so helpful me/ramleyjohn. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Awesome. Great, Ramli. Great. Thanks a lot for your time. I'm sure I've learned a lot from chatting with you in the past, and hopefully everyone else has too.
All right.
Great. Enjoy Toronto.
Take care.